Here is the thoracic rib cage. Here we still see the pectoralis major attached on this side. The minor's attachment is still there as well. On this side, we remove the pectoralis major and the minor and expose here the intercostals. Here are the external intercostals you see here. There's a membrane here that extends from the external intercostals all the way here to the sternum. And it's the external intercostal membrane. It's a clear membrane. And through it you can actually see the fibers of the internal intercostal running in the opposite direction. Coming here off the side, we can see the serratus anterior and its serrations here, and in between the ribs here's the external intercostal, and there's the serrations. If we look here at the ribs themselves, this is the costal cartilage. Here there's bone. Here this costal cartilage is attached to the sternum by this fan-like ligament here. We'll do a closer look at it. Running here and fanning out. Here's a good example of it. This is the sternocostal radiate ligament that's holding costal cartilage onto the sternum. Below here you can see we've made an incision here going right down the middle of the abdomen down to the pubis. And then what we did is we started coming up here where we've already had it cut and begin to peel the skin back more and more and more. You can see that there's a substantial amount of fatty tissue here on the undersurface. With that we expose the beginning of the rectus here, and this is the rectus sheath. And coming in here from the ribs, here's the external abdominal oblique coming around. This is this fascia here, and it forms part of the sheath. This is anterior rectus sheath here over the rectus abdominis. Here again we can see the ribs. Here these are the true ribs. This is beginning of the false ribs here. Here coming off from the scapula, there's a serratus anterior attaching onto the ribs. And then between the ribs are our intercostals. Here we begin to see the external. Here, running in this direction, external intercostal here, here, and you can see in between here are the slips of the serratus anterior. Now as we move towards the sternum, now that external intercostal is continuous with this membrane. That's the external intercostal membrane. It's a clear membrane. And because it's clear, we can see through it and see the fibers of the internal intercostal muscle running in the opposite direction. Here's our ligament tying the costal cartilage, which is right here to here. This is the rib here itself, to the sternum. So right there is the sterno-costo-radiate ligament. One right here as well. Sterno-costo-radiate, costo-radiate. Okay. Here's the clavicle at the sternoclavicular joint. There's the first rib here, second, third. This space here is the first intercostal space. This is the second intercostal space. This is the third. You can see here the clear membrane attaching. That's the external intercostal membrane from the external intercostal. And we'll look over here. Here's the external intercostal coming in this direction. Here again in this direction. Here in this direction. Okay? Because that membrane here is the internal. Notice it's going in the opposite direction. Fibers. So there's the internal intercostal. Here's the external. And the internal is covered by that membrane. Here again is a look. Here we'll move this over a little bit. So you get a better look at that fibrous connection. Here. Right here. Here. Coming through on the ribs. Now, this first intercostal space is filled with the first intercostal nerve, which is a ventral ramus off of T1. So the nerve to this, spinal nerve to this area, the first space, is the first thoracic. The second space is the second thoracic. The third, it's the third thoracic, and so forth. Looking at the inside of the rib cage for the costovertebral joints, you can see the vertebrae here. These are the bodies. You can see the nice anterior longitudinal ligament running along here. Here you can see the intercostal nerves. This is the intramost intercostal. And then here's the ribs. And the head of the ribs are sitting right in here. We're going to tilt this a bit. There's the ribs coming up. You can see the fascia. You can see the ligamentous attachment onto the body. There's another one here. See these strands, if you will, of the ligaments holding those together. That's part of the radiate ligament. If we look on the other side, again we see the rib. You see the radiating fibers coming off. Another one, you can see some of the fibers coming off here and here as well. Probably the best shot here on how they radiate out from the head. So the head's right in here, and there's the body, and there's the disc right in through there. Here again, you can see the very nice anterior longitudinal ligament, how wide it is. Turn this again over here. See the rib through the head's right there. Another one here. Another one here. Intercostal nerves there. And you can see here the parts of the radiate ligament coming out. It's a good one. Here we see this one here. Fanning across the head of the joint. Okay, I'll go to the other side. You can see the rib there, rib here. It's a nice radiate ligament here. Here's another one. You can see the radiate coming off of the rib. Here you're going to see part of that area. So again, costo, vertebral, radiate ligament. So to the other side. Again, nice here. There's a rib. You see the radiate over the head coming out. Another one here. Radiating out over there. So costo vertebral with the radiate ligament. We're looking at the posterior part of the thorax here, and here's the spinous processes. Here are the ribs coming in. Here there's transverse processes here, 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 and here. And what we see here are the parts of the costotransverse joint. Plus, we also see some of the intertransverse ligaments. For example, here is and here is a superior costotransverse ligament here for the joint, and fibers of the lateral costotransverse ligament proper. There's the superior here, and there's the intertransverse ligament right there. Superior costotransverse, lateral costotransverse.